Hello guys, so this is the alternator that we converted to DC motor. You can see the speed. It runs around 3200 rpm and everything work perfectly. So this is an alternator gotten from a car, and this is how we did the connection. So the alternator was gotten damaged already, so it hasn't been working because I asked the guy, the electrician guy that we got the alternator from, and he said the brushed was it. Now he said the diode is faulty, that it doesn't charge battery, that it used to spoil battery for the car, so it's now worthless, it doesn't work anymore. So we got the alternator from him and we remove the diode, and we have access to the uh, winding, the outside winding. The armature winding used to have a final pin wires that will come out at the bottom of the alternator, and then we also have the brushed. We also have access to the brush after removing the diodes. So that's all the things we needed. And this particular alternator has six winding. It has six armature winding that comes out from the main um, from the inside winding. So some of the alternators, after removing the diodes, you only see three windings that will come out, but as the case of this one is six winding. So what you would do if you come across this kind of alternator, you pick the first wire and connect it across to the last wire. That's what we did, and that makes your first phase of the connection. The second wire with the third wire together, and fourth wire to fifth wire together, that is making three wires, as you can see in my own connection. Then the brush has two phase. You connect two wires to the brushed, and that will give you positive and negative. Doesn't matter how you connect it. And here is our BLDC motor controller. It has three phase and then two wires for your power input. And our controller comes with this kit. Is a potentiometer, and then the power toggling, which you can toggle off and off, on and off. So we connect it to the controller, and then we'll take the three phase of this controller, connect it to the three windings that come out from the alternator, and then we then connect the red and black wire to our power input. So let's change the connector of our cutter and then strip out the wire. So we call the head stripper. So doesn't matter what I call it, you might have your name for calling this type of tool. So now, after stripping out the wire, we'll now connect the connections that we did on the alternator to the controller. And as you can see on the video, I was demonstrating how I did the connections, and it's very easy as that. You just pick any of the wire, doesn't matter, none of the wire is mapped to go for wire 1 or 2, so they are all the same thing. So you just make the connections, and then um, now remaining for the brushed. So remember I told you guys, you connect two wires to the brush, doesn't matter which ones goes to positive or negative, they are all the same thing. All we want to do here is we want to inject current into the brush, and here I have this battery connected in parallel. That's why you're seeing 4.1 volt and it's fully charged. 4.01 volt, that means the battery is fully charged, and only four of these battery are connected with one another. So all I was trying to explain here is that you can use 2 to 3 batteries and 3 volts. Don't use any higher voltage battery. 3 volts is okay for you. So I'm trying to make the connection. Mind you, doesn't matter if you connect it positive, anyone to positive goes, anyone to negative goes, and I'm trying to make the connection. As you can see, I don't even care which one goes to positive or negative. Same thing will work for you. So after the connection, I then will decide to test the current that is being drawn from the 3-volt battery to see, so that I'll have insight of okay, how much power is being consumed by the brush. So by knowing how much current is consumed by the brush will give you an insight of what to do next, or how many amps battery you should use, depending on how many hours you want your motor to keep running. So this is my clamp meter. I clamped it. Okay, so let me use the other side. So you can see now we're
Masa.
having around
Ba za
3.2
ka ɗaga
amps
hakan ba ai.
consumed by the brush. I don't think if you can see it clearly, but let me try and focus the camera. You can see that 2.9, 3.2 amps. So that's what is being consumed. So now let me connect power. So remember, we have red and black wires remaining on the controller that we haven't connected. So now I have two inverter wires extra that I don't even need. So I just pick them up and then connect them to extend the wire, so that whenever I want to connect it to my power source, I will not be struggling with the controller and stuff. So I connect a longer wire so that I'll have a proper connection. Okay, so after the connection, now remain to just connect in our power and then um, start the alternator to see how it performs. Well, you will also test the current consumed by the alternator itself, because knowing the current that the alternator consumed give you an insight of how much uh, power will be consumed when you use a particular battery. So you can see the alternator perfectly spinning as motor. So it's now perfectly converted to DC motor. Now let's test the current consumed by the alternator. So we use our clamp meter also, because our clamp meter is what we use to test current. You can see that the alternator, or let me say motor, the motor is consuming around 11 amps, guys. 11.6 amps. So 11.6 amps is what the alternator is consuming. Now remaining the RPM. So testing our RPM, we have our um, RPM tester. That's what I call it. You might have your own name that you call this tool, but what I call it is RPM tester. So we have this white paper that would be a starting point for the RPM tester to pick the laser. It has a laser, so the laser picks how many rotation that white paper did. That's what will give you the RPM.
You are
And as you
3,000
can see on
plus.
the RPM tester, we had around
Ko
3,200
ba
between
3,000 nake gani ba 3,100
3,150
plus.
to 3,300 uh, RPM. Isn't that great, guys? 3,000 RPM is not
Masa da kamera kusa da
very
yawa.
low, guys. 3,000 RPM can turn a lot of things depending on the project that you want to use uh, the motor for. So even all these oil generators, gasoline generator, are around 2,500 to 3,500 RPM. So that's it, guys. It works perfectly, and that's it. That's all. So thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, also share to the people that you know this might benefit them. So this is just experimental. You might have what you want to share. So